Oh my goodness. Great morning, everyone. Well, I wanted to talk a bit, I think, today about what's happening. Now, they did that thing, what was it, Beyond Wisdom or whatever the name of her channel was. But, when doing that interview, if you will, it feels very, very disjointed and nothing connected because it's this thing and this thing and this thing and really what's going on. I'd rather just speak about what's going on, what's happening, what's coming in, how it's coming in, etc., etc., etc. And just give it as the perspective here, what is known as it's known when it comes to things here. So yes, the world, we are in the midst of a great opportunity for transformation. And I told this to my students many years ago that this great divide is coming, of the light from the dark, if you will, or those that are progressing and wanting to move forward versus those that are staying stuck in that ego-centered drama, if you will. So, what, Miss Lily? Yes, I love you too, Miss Lily. Anyway, so what's coming in is there's more energetic things coming in. People are starting to wake up, starting to question things. We see the big dark underbelly of drama being exposed for what it is, so that people can actually see it to change it. You can't change something if you can't see it. So all of this stuff is coming up, and it's like a big boil being ready to be burst. Okay? It's painful, it's big, it's ugly, it's painful. Okay? Things are heating up with stuff so that we can see it for what it is. And it's just so much of that polarity is happening so that it's much easier for people to decide where they're going to go, what path they're going to go on. Okay? It's not so much murky any longer, where you kind of, like what happened with Trump, and so many people got sucked into it, okay? But now the reality is raising its head, and more people can see it for what it is versus what they were led to believe when things were murky and not really clear. So the further we go and the more these implosions are happening, more people can have a good revelation about what's taking place, and they can adjust things and move forward. Now, of course, some people are just going to continue to support him in the angst and the drama, and because their head is in the space of retribution, the poor me saga, and all of that drama. And so they may continue down that road, but more and more people are saying we are so done with this, and they're wanting to move forward. So they are, again, trying to figure out their way. And then we have people coming out, and we have more of the disclosures coming forward, and more of the channeling is taking place, etc., of alien beings, and all of this that's taking place. Now, and more revelations about that, the reality of that coming in. So a lot of changes in motion at the moment. Now, I can tell you the information that's coming in from ones like Bashar, etc., or if other channelers are doing, especially Arcturian things coming in, Arcturian or 12th dimension, And if you've heard my hypnosis session as well, talking about other lifetimes, and these are all going on simultaneously. So many times if you are channeling, you can be channeling other aspects of yourself that are taking place in other lifetimes simultaneously, which many of my lifetimes ongoing are Arcturian, 12th dimensional being, light being elements, Andromeda, Arcturian, that type of thing, which I can be very aware of as well. Okay, many timelines, many dimensions, and I can tell you that what's coming through in Arcturian 12th level dimension, light being and things, is the same thing that you get in realization when you do that, like here, I did the path through Kundalini, which was a 30-year path, and when everything implodes at the end, you have that same knowledge as of the 12th dimension about what is the primary reality behind everything, the expression that's seen in the 3D world. Okay, it's the same knowledge, the same understanding, the same knowing 100% as to what fuels all these experiences. Okay, so what is the primary consciousness that is coming in, and the revelation and the way that things are moving going forward as a people to try to bring in this higher dimension, this higher understanding, this higher awareness into being a living reality. Okay, so the difference when it comes to that either Arcturian information, divine light being information, or realization, the information from that, it's the same knowing, the same understanding, the same knowledge as to a great shift of consciousness that takes place. Okay, whereas most people are in the realm of mind of duality, and only the 3D realm of concrete, what they see, what they feel, what they hear in their expression of life path, etc. Within that 12th dimension or realization that takes place, there has been a whole total shift of consciousness, and things that propel people in the 3D realm, a 3D mindset of duality, if you will, some of those things just no longer exist. Okay, such as you cannot hate somebody. Hate is gone. Okay, that's no longer on the table. That is absolutely not, nowhere to be found. So again, one enters into a totally different type of a consciousness of reality. And again, like Bashar says, in the Essassani type of life, or my Arcturian type of existences, Andromedan type of existences, or just here for realization, what takes place is one goes into a stilled mind. You're not having that revolving mind that's going anymore on a hamster wheel of having to think what you're going to do with this or thinking what you're going to do with that. It's just a flow of consciousness that takes place. So it's a totally different way of life and living, even though on the external, it looks to be the same as any other 3D realm mentality, okay? But there is a vast difference. When I say there is no ability to hate, I mean there is no ability to hate. no matter how bad we see and how much we don't like what we see someone doing, there is no possibility of hate. Okay, that is absolutely gone forever out of the consciousness. And one is, what comes in is flow. Okay? So it's not something that you have to struggle with to try to figure out what you're going to do. It's a natural flow that takes place at that point. Okay? So here, there is an awareness of the Arcturian life that's ongoing at the same point. There is the awareness of some things that were appeared to be past, but all of it simultaneous, which I know is a mind bender. Especially 3D mindset trying to figure this out. It's a mind bender, but everything is happening eternally in the same moment. So whether it's past or future, all of those things can be accessed in the present, okay? Which I can say 100% going through the Kundalini experience, there were things that I needed to know about past as to what was happening in this timeline, again, and how things could relate to future timelines, etc., that are just imported and known and lived, whether it's through a, how do I want to say, like a lucid dream state, whether it's just, and things can be implanted, just come in all already said and done, if you will. Knowledge that just comes in as a full concrete thing that takes place, experiences that take place, especially in the Kundalini thing, and coming into the 3D body form. For much of the time during the journey here, was not aware at that point of future lives and other higher awareness things. I had to make the journey through a 3D dualistic mindset. Okay, I didn't have access to that ever-present knowledge. I had to make the journey like anybody else here in the 3D realm of mind spin and the Poor Me saga and all of that was taken on, and that journey was made, okay? Because if you are going to be a teacher or, share those things, you have to be able to have walked the path yourself and know the way forward out of it to be able to speak of it. You can't just come in, like the 12th dimensional understanding and not be able to relate to people that are in this more confined box of ideations, etc. Okay? Because, once you come out of that, these things are so easy to be known, but when you are locked in the mind of duality, then you can hear about 12th dimension or non-duality, etc., but you really can't get it. You may think you understand it, but there's a vast difference between mentally thinking you can understand what it is, but the living reality is so different from what you can imagine or what you think it may be. Okay, it's vastly, vastly different. So anyway, people now are in the, we have more and more waves coming in. Like I was a first wave coming in the 50s. First wave coming in to stabilize and to bring some light and make that journey come into embodiment and take on that form and make that journey so that you could relate to others and aid them in moving forward in their own journey, okay? So all of the future things that were there being lived at the same time, okay, the Arcturian and light being lifetimes were blocked coming in, so that I had to make that journey through the 3D realm and that mental box of feeling that the physicality of form is who and what you are, that you are something separate, etc. So that path is about finding out that you are the physical form is a vehicle for expression in this realm, that things become more concrete, more solidified, more separated from the total consciousness of awareness. And so again, coming in here, the first wave, we came in to share the light, hold the balance, and begin to make that journey through consciousness, through awareness, in order to define and tell people and know that it's true that they can make that journey out of the limited consciousness into going back to source, going back to the primary, okay, the divine is, the 0 point balance, if you will, that it is possible for people in this 3D to elevate to a 5D or into a more heart-centered or more of an awareness. They can completely implode into that 12th dimensional understanding and reality, okay? But it takes really focusing, going within to find out what's there, okay? And being willing to cut ties with these old past things and to open up to more expansion, okay, if you will. Now, I'm not saying it's an easy path, because it wasn't. It was a 30-year journey and took, full attention and intention to move forward to find out if there's God, what is God, etc. Okay? And so it's up to people how far they want to go in this journey. Now, what I found is most people, they don't want to make that journey because it's very frightening for them to think about an ego imploding and finding out that you are the great zero. You've never been born, you've never died, okay? And the paradox of all this stuff that comes in with that knowledge. They want to have a more firm ego, if you will, and be able to control their life journeys rather than going totally beyond that expression, because when everything implodes, who and what you thought you were is out the door, okay? But it's not a loss in the end. It's a freeing up. It's a freedom that takes place, because all the baggage that you had is gone, okay? And it is, like the Bible says, it is being reborn. It's being reborn in spirit, okay? So it is that death and birth into spirit, but it's a death of the illusion of being a body form with life and death, etc. Because you find out that death is just a transition from out of this physicality into a more expanded awareness and journey, okay? So mainly I wanted to say that whether it's being channeled information or whether it comes from realization, they absolutely 100% line up in the same knowing, the same reality, and that one moves in direct consciousness rather than the mental realm of having to figure out, and mentally define what are you going to do, etc. It's a natural flow that takes place, okay? It's a natural flow of consciousness being in motion and being in a, symbiotic way with reality and where things are moving to. So mainly I wanted to come in and talk about that today because, yes, we are on the precipice of things, being opened up more and more and more. And I know it's difficult for people in a 3D mindset to understand that there can be awareness of other lives, other timelines that are going on simultaneously in conjunction with what's taking place here. But that's the reality for some of us. Now we have, again, wave after wave after wave of ones coming in to bring in more light, to bring in more radical changes into this planetary awareness taking place. So like I said, I'm first wave in the 50s, coming in, taking on this heavy-duty body form to move through and to make that journey that people in the 3D mindset have to make in order to move forward into that direct consciousness of reality. Okay? Oh, he stole her goodie. He just waits, I swear. Mr. Mickey, did you take Miss Lily's goodie? He said, I did, I got it. He said, I just wait. I wait it out, and the minute she moves, I snag it. He's so bad. He does it. So anyway, that's mainly what I wanted to talk about. Yes, people are moving forward, and they have more opportunities, more abilities to begin to open up, and you'll have more experiences of expansion that take place. Now, as these expansions are taking place, those of us that have come in try to keep the a ground, a place that's centering, to give some advisory things as to things that can aid you to continue to move forward. Just like the talks that are coming through now, whether it's being channeled, and it's being channeled from my Arcturian 12th dimension life form, or it's just coming through the regular talks that are seen from the same perspective, although when channeling, sometimes it'll come in a little different way of expression for people. But yeah, I can feel absolutely that presence and have glimpses of it as well. So that's mainly what I wanted to talk about. Yes, things are changing, and as a people and a planet, things are elevating, have the chance to elevate. And all of the stuff that's happening now, the more chaos you see, the more awareness there is of what needs to be changed. What's in the breakdown mode? What is in fear mode of going out? They're doing what they can to try to cling on and hang on to power, but they're being seen for what they are, and people are saying, we don't want any more of that. Now, of course, there is a small segment that's going down that road that wants to keep that same dynamic in place, and they will have their own experiences. But again, as you change your mentality and your focus and your expressions, you move into different timelines, better, more elevated timelines. The consciousness changes, and as the consciousness changes, the way you interact with these things is going to change. Okay? You're not going to be so concerned with that darker element. Okay? It's no longer going to be a pressure point on you going forward. Okay? Yes, you see that happening, but again, it's no longer within your reality as to something to be of concern with, because they have a right to whatever drama they're going to do and reap the karma of that, if you will, of experience. Okay? So just continue to move forward, bringing in the higher dynamic. And we can choose, again, the democratic socialism, or some say, I'd rather say democratic progressives, whatever, because yes, some words have a stigma attached to them. People don't understand it, and they want to see it as something negative rather than a positive of just being willing to do social programs and benefits for the working people versus those of wealth and so-called power, etc., that have had the roadway cleared for them for so much time. So on that note, I'll just leave that here. Hopefully it's not become more confusing for people, but I can tell you 100% there is a vast difference when that shift takes place and one becomes really a new being. The old has passed away. Okay, remember that part about the former has passed away? That really does happen. And there is a rebirth that takes place into a totally new consciousness, a totally new way of being, and a totally new dynamic with what you live within. Doesn't mean you can't become angry, doesn't mean you can't feel pain, doesn't mean any of that. You still feel pain, you still can have anger, but as far as hate, there is no way that can come up in consciousness at all any longer. Okay? 100% gone, never to arise again. So when I see people fueled by hate and retribution and wanting to see pain, that's painful to see. Okay? Because you want to see people elevate and come into a higher aspect of dimension and knowing and reality versus staying stuck in that mindset and that cognition. Yes, I know you're mad now because he took your goodie. Well, you left it. You left it, Miss Mickey. You did. Yes, Miss Lily. Miss Lily, you left it and Mickey snagged it. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I love you too. And I know what you want. Yeah, she wants to, you know what she wants, as usual. Yes, I know. Oh yeah, then she's gonna get excited, and Mickey's gonna tell her to quit. Yeah, he's gonna grouse her and tell her quit. Chillax. When she gets wound up, that's what he does. Yeah, he tries to get her to chill. Good luck with that. Anyway, on that note, I'll leave that here, and we'll see you online. Yeah, you tell her, Mickey. Tell her. Yeah, tell her. Yeah, tell her. Relax.